Anyone experiencing joy this morning? Appreciate you all, and thank you so much for coming today. Keep in mind, this is day 5 for me. This would not have been possible if folks did not roll up their sleeves to make this happen. Everyone, give a round of applause for Nikki Gilbert. Who put their heart and their soul and their strength in making this happen. You know, my family comes from the old school. They say, she put her foot in that. And that means, if you ever have a good cake and someone says they put their foot in that, that usually means they did a good thing. If they're not talking technically, then that's a bad thing. But you absolutely put your heart, soul, and strength in this. And really, when Nikki and I talked about this, I said, these meet and greets can be boring. But we want this not to be about me, because we know the work is not about me, it's about we. So I'm really excited because this is a thank you, hence the banner, to you all again. Someone asked, why is your stop here at St. Joseph so important? And I believe in the spirit and power of beloved community. And when Dr. King talks about beloved community, he says his vision was a community that's caring and compassion, that drives policies and programs that support the worldwide elimination of poverty and hunger, and all forms of bigotry and violence. I'll be truthful, it is hard to find beloved community, especially these days. And yet, when I was thinking about the last stages of my career, I was asking my divine, help me find a place that's really rooted in love and justice. Because I believe those are two sides of the same coin. And I just came from a phenomenal organization, Community Coalition, who was passionate about the justice work. And coming here feels like I have found beloved community. So give yourselves a round of applause for maintaining community, not just for ourselves, but for the clients in our community that we are so honored to serve. So speaking of beloved community, I want to give some beloved shout outs. I've had the opportunity for the last month to speak and engage with at least 50 of you here and see you in the work. And before I give individual shout outs, I want to say this. Talking to you and listening to you has been a joy, and it's been sobering. I want to say we've all had some collective hard years. How many folks are still feeling the impact of the pandemic, both in your work and in your personal life? And you can see that on the streets daily. It would have been a joy. My father would have loved to be here, and yet we lost him during the pandemic. One of the last acts he ever did was to bring people together to feed people who were unhoused. He would have been so excited to be here. So I honor you all by speaking my father's name, Reginald, here today. A lot of you all have been doing the work throughout the pandemic in these number of years. Many of you have gone hour after hour, minute after minute to do the work. Clearly there have been changes, and some of you have been stretched thin. Some of you all, I know, are juggling a lot personally and professionally. That you have come here despite what's happening in your personal lives to continue to do the work of our folks who are experiencing homelessness. Many of you have sacrificed personally to continue to do that work here. When I asked you, why do you come back? Guess what came to the forefront? How much y'all love each other. People came to the forefront. I am here because of the people who were at St. Joe's. And here is where somebody did this for me 2 years ago that still impacts me to this day. Here's where somebody's extended themselves. This person does such amazing work in the field that it inspires me every day to come back. And I am grateful for that because I continue. The fact that you all love each other that much, that was the number one thing that came to the top, just reminds me that we are doing good work here. I do believe that clapping helps our bodies in motion. Clap for each other. Congratulations. You did so much. You're changing your position. You are that here to do the good work in a humanitarian crisis. It was Frederick Douglass, whose birthday just passed, who said, without a struggle, there can be no progress. So thank you for that. I also am excited because I thought about, particularly in Women's International Day, the amazing women who have helped build this organization. Keep in mind, this was built over 47 years. We can speak the names of our sisters who helped build this community. When we talk about hope through empowerment, I heard Sister Louis Bernstein say, we were intentional because this was never about charity. This was always about sustaining the lives of people so that they can make decisions for themselves. This was about power. And empowerment meant the world to them. Obviously, the origins of this organization came from social justice classes that these sisters took and said, we need to do something different. And they started to build St. Joseph's brick by brick here in Venice. Then they passed the torch to our former executive director, Rhonda Meister, may she rest in peace, who took this dozen people who were doing the work and feeding folks to say, we can do more on the West Side. And she helped lay more bricks to build St. Joseph's Center to what it is today. And it was sad when she passed, but we know that her spirit continues with us. And then she passed the torch to Dr. Felicia Adams Kelly, who had an enormous vision, not only for the service planning area, but for the county of Los Angeles. She took the dozens of people and grew an institution to 400. She always leads with compassion when she talks about the work. She always leads with people when she talks about the work. And when she calls me, she asks about you all. And I was like, it's only day 5. I don't know people by their names yet. I met a lot. But you're making me think I need to even run a little faster because I'm writing their names down as quick as possible. And I wondered, well, how do you know all 400 of these folks? And it was because she loved the work and because she knew the work was essential to changing our crisis. She loved the people who actually did the work. Yeah. And I'm grateful and humbled and honored that she continues to do the work at a grand scale, but will always have St. Joseph Center in her eye. And she better because she's one of our funders, so I'm all in. I said, my job is to bring the resources so we continue. So I will be taking your call and talking about the work. And then she passed the torch to an amazing executive team and amazing Latanya Smith, who have put this organization for the last year. We're trying to figure out if we're cousins. We're going to take out the genealogical, There's about a million umpteen Smiths, but who knows? And we're going to talk more about Latanya and the team later on, but I will say this, thank you to the executive team, thank you to Latanya for your service, your dedication, your commitment. It's not easy to take all of that at a time where so much is going on in the political landscape, so much is going on with our brothers and sisters and siblings who are on the streets, and you all have done an amazing, fantastic job. You all allowed, this tall, loud black guy to come around with y'all and work. You're like, who is he? I'll never forget our emails somebody in the pantry and was like, I'd love to set up time. And they were so responsive. They were like, yes, but who are you? I said, and I was like, this is amazing. Number one, you were so responsive to somebody, that just tells you our service is on point. And I was like, well, I'm new to the staff. And they're like, well, what role? So I'll start there. I've had the experience of volunteering, seeing, observing our folks in the food pantry, our folks who are engaging with our food pantry staff and the amazing staff and volunteers who run that daily. Like I said, I believe Beloved Community is about eradicating hunger, and to show that, we have to show people that can be done. It can be done well, it can be done daily, and our food pantry staff are amazing at it. Hallie, Lorena, and all the siblings that I am missing, I just want to thank you for all that you do and your commitment to the community. I will say this, when they taught me about this job and I was learning more, I think I spent maybe 5 hours learning about the day-to-day work of our Bread and Roses team. Because I think when we talk about continuum of care, we have to treat our fellow siblings who are experiencing homeless as if they are our siblings experiencing homeless and not a caste somewhere to be treated inhumanely. And Bread and Roses does that daily in the way. First of all, the food is amazing. It's fantastic. I was trying to figure out, well, is Bread and Roses on my Uber Eats app? So but you all do phenomenal work. Work that the entire city, the entire country should know and observe. Thank you to our amazing chefs. And I got to see someone who was creating these amazing pastries. And she was like, I'm a new chef. And I was like, that's amazing. How did you find out about our culinary program? She said, I remember when I was a client sitting right there. And this is my week now working here. I was trying not to cry because I'm gonna get tears. But that was astounding. And I didn't even realize this. You're right here in the back. Everyone give a round of applause. I want to shout out the amazing work that we're doing on the front lines. Give a round of applause for an outreach and engagement team. So I started my career as a youth organizer. I remember knocking on doors of youth and families and trying to make this make work move. And one of the first engagements I had was a chance to see Veronica Morrison in action. I got to see Tia in action. I got to see Andres in action. I can't read my own handwriting. And I got to see, that is Pamela. I got to see Pamela. We talk about continuum of care, we talk about supports, we talk about it happening with our siblings who are experiencing homelessness. But to see a clinician, to see an ambassador, to see an RN come together in the middle of a storm to support our community and did not care about the rain. Didn't want to slip though. I saw y'all like when we got that mud. And to do that at a time that is needed was humbling and it's important. I believe in the power of meeting communities where we're at. I believe we should be uplifting the lived experience of folks. I believe we have to uplift the voices of those experiencing homelessness, but that means meeting them where they're at. And that can only be done if we are engaging them where they are communing, where they're living, and I wanted to say thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you for that work. It's some of the toughest work that can potentially happen anywhere. And when USC did that study and showed that 97% of folks who were in the Venice encampment have actually received permanent housing, what they lifted up as the bright spot is the way that the outreach and engagement team engaged those folks and gave them resources. You are making a difference. Thank you every day. Now I realize I have too many names and I don't have that much time. So I am going to go really quickly. I want to shout out Leslie and Wendy, who I had the chance to experience. I wrote in my notes, if roll up your sleeves was a person in the dictionary, they had your two faces there. Not on my watch, not today. Thank you for all that you do. I know doing case management's not easy in this moment. I know the work that we do is growing downtown is not easy. I know that you have all come out of your pockets at times to get resources. I know you have called partners yourselves in order to be innovative in the field. You have done this out of your hearts, and even when you wanted to give up, you came back. And even when people called you and said, come here, you said, I'm staying at St. Joe's. And even when things like crazy stuff happened, you all started to dance for joy. And even when folks may have left us, you got new people and new energy and new blood in that office. It cannot be easy to do what you all do. Shout out to our program manager, Ernestina. Shout out to all of our case managers who do that work. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Angel Rubio is not here, but he was just recently promoted. Congratulations, Angel. And last but not least, there are folks that I'm still getting to. I cannot wait to spend time with our family team that's doing amazing work, hard work. To place individuals is very challenging, but to place families is even more challenging, particularly in this part of the city. So for you all to do that work and to do it well, I will tell you I come from youth and family work, so thank you so much for all that you do. And I can't wait to spend time with you. Shout out to all our mental health supports providers, all the folks and clinicians doing that work. It's not easy. And the competition to get that type of talent is hard. We have to wrap our minds, our hearts, our energy around those folks as they're wrapping their minds, their hearts, their energies around the folks who are the most vulnerable of the vulnerable. So thank you for that work. Thank you for all of our interim housing folks holding it down in our motels and our communities like that. I owe somebody a refrigerator. I already know, it's still in my notes. Jamie Nia, I did not forget about you. Okay, you got the refrigerator. Thank goodness. I was like, that email is standing in my draft. But thank you so much for all the folks. Thank you for Joey and their leadership of this team. It can't be easy. Appreciate you so much. I could go on and on. I will just say thank you to the backbone teams. Thank you to our finance team for making sure that thank you to our operations team. Without you, thank you to our HR team who makes sure that we're doing the work well. Y'all like to get paid? Yeah. Shout out to our development team who does everything possible. So make sure no pink slips go out. And trust me, who was the first team I called when I came? They were like, oh, you sent us 30 emails. I'm like, yes, because I'm going to keep our lights on and our doors open. Shout out to our communications team who's doing was holding us down. And if I've forgotten folks, you'll have to forgive me. I do want to thank our board members who've come today. Thank you so much to our amazing board. You know, I will wrap up soon, but I'll tell you a little bit about myself, why I came here. So I am somebody who is a native Angelino. My family is from South LA, but I grew up in Culver City. My mother spent her life savings to move from South LA to Culver City because she heard the schools were good. She did everything possible financially to make sure that we could stay. And I appreciate her. I don't know how many single folks, moms, all that type of stuff who do the work. Thank you. Thank you so much for holding it down. And then when she could no longer afford the place that we stayed and we were evicted, she took as much money as she could so that we could live in someone's living room so I could stay and graduate high school. And I wouldn't have gone to college if there was not a counselor who took money out of their pocket to pay for my college applications when I had no place to go. If it was not for the sacrifice of folks who saw that we were in need when we were ready to give up, I wouldn't be here. I did go to UCLA, go Bruins. I went to UCLA twice. I'm gonna really just say that just because I owe them so much money that I need President Biden to move a little quicker on that. Okay, I digress. So, went to UCLA and started my work around activism. Started my work. I was one of 27 black men in a class of 4,000 at the end of Prop 209, and said, I want to do the work. I want to continue to support, and that's when I decided to really dedicate a lot of my life in service to others. I graduated UCLA, and I went to Mexico City to teach in the orphanages of Cuernavaca and DF Mexico. So para ustedes que hablan español, mi nombre es México Chocolatote y Grandote, a mis estudiantes. For folks who don't speak Spanish, my students call me Giant Chocolate. I wear that as a badge of pride. I will say this, I believe I actually just came back from Mexico City. I go every year to check and make sure those students are good. They're adults. I just want to make sure they're all right. A lot of the work that we do here is about our fellow siblings. A lot of this work is also about our systems, systems that were not designed for our folks who are currently within them. So the fact that we see 30% of folks in LA County on the streets who are black, that the numbers have risen for our brown communities is not a reflection of their brilliance or their passion or them wanting to thrive. It is a product of the systems that have been created that are not designed for them. And we have to speak to that. We have to speak to that. We have to speak to that. And I believe in the power of racial justice when we talk about this work. Well, I've done a lot of work from there. I've spent most of my life doing nonprofit work. I've done education work. I will say I spent 2 years as Nanny Casey Youth and Family Fellow looking at systems to support families across the country. Housing systems, our child welfare systems, our education systems. And I know that there's ways in which we do right, and there are ways in which we can do better, and there's ways in which we can be people-centered, and there's ways in which that can be challenging. And who knew that the divine would bring me here to take all of that to think about our next steps. So, I'm hosting office hours. By the way, this begins our Spring of Love campaign. Thank you very much for our siblings who aren't here. I'll be doing 3 more of these across to get to know folks and also celebrate and champion. But I've already gotten questions about, well, what are you going to do and what are you going to focus on moving forward? And I'm like, well, it's day 5. But let me tell you what I'm really excited and interested and passionate about. One, I believe that culture drives change. And that culture will eat strategy up for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. There is no way that we can profess to build beloved community for our siblings who are experiencing homelessness if this is not a beloved community. There is no way we can do the work if we aren't all lockstep together supporting that. Y'all didn't come here to make millions of dollars. You all came to do the good work. And it's our job as leaders to provide an atmosphere, a space where you can do that. And my brick in the next stage of this work is to make sure that all of you have bricks to build the next 50 years of St. Joseph's Center. So the question is, collectively, what can we do together? But I will say this, you have to come to a place where you're respected, you're valued, and you're loved. And our job is to create a community that does that. So my goal is to make sure our staff are uplifted in the work. This is not about me, this is about we. To build a movement, it's not one person, so we all have to do that together. So first is our staff. We also gotta make sure we got the right folks, the right talent, and that we have enough staff to do the work. Shout out to Amber Locklear and all the work that our Access Center does. There's nobody who actually brings the power of we quite like Amber. And she has my telephone number, so we've had a number of conversations. And what she talks about is all of you. She's another person who says she's just so grateful to be here because of you. And I'm grateful I'll be spending a half day on Thursday at our Access Center. Wednesday. Thank God for Nikki, because she has me on point, you can see. So, long story short, we have to work on staff. We have to make sure that culture is good. We have to make sure that we are sustained. At the end of the day, our sustainability, our systems, our structures are very important and key because once again, they'll help you do your work. So we have to make sure that we're doing everything possible to bring in resources. We have to do everything possible to make sure our finance systems are in place. Everything possible to make sure all of that. Because you all, people have been upholding all of that, and we just gotta make sure that we have the systems in place so you can continue to thrive and that those systems are doing good work. So those things are things that I am thinking about clearly. Last but not least, I'm thinking about how we continue to uplift the experience of those who are experiencing homelessness at this point. How do we uplift their voices? We did a survey and 64% of us have lived experience. And that is telling of what we believe and what we value. And that also means that we need to make sure we have the supports to support you all as you're supporting people experiencing homelessness as well. But I want to make sure you all are good. Last but not least, I'm a researcher. I believe in policy and practice. I believe in systems change. And right now, there has never been the type of momentum and energy around ending homelessness that we've seen today. Unfortunately, the inflow into homelessness continues to make that really difficult for us to house people. But another challenge is we have a lot of policymakers making policies that are disjointed from the practitioners, you all on the ground. At the end of the day, you should be informing policy. You should be lifting up the people whose voices should be raised. You should be the one saying, this is what the next step should be. So before the Olympics, before all of this stuff happens in LA, we need to get this issue right. And thank goodness that people are doing everything they can, but St. Joe's has been doing it for 50 years. So my job is to remind folks of the good work here, but also to make sure that we're doing right when we're trying to pass policies that are absent of the people who have to implement them. And I'm just really excited to really be here, and I'm humbled, so humbled, by the opportunity to serve this amazing social justice institution. It was started by some radical nuns, and you've inherited an organizer who's committed and passionate about making sure that we thrive for our next 100. So I appreciate you all. I'm humbled. A couple things you should know. I have office hours already. Some of you know that because my office hours are already full for 3 days. I believe that we should start with listening. So if you all want to do that, please, please, please go ahead and spend some time with me. And if you don't want to do it in those office hours, Nikki will find some more time for us. And if it's not there, I'll come to you. I just want to make sure that I know what we all need here. There's that. The other thing is we'll be trying to think about differently about our internal communication systems, other things that we're going to do. But moving forward, let's continue to uplift community. I hope that I have handed you a part of that break to help us continue to build. I want to thank you for coming back during a hard, challenging 3 years. Thank you for your sacrifice of the work. Appreciate you so much. Once again, thank you. Thank you so much for this.